how Kyle Shanahan scouts
Ka.
how Kyle Shanahan scouts his offensive skill players. Struck me when he was talking at the end of the draft. He said, "You know what? I'm so happy that I won't have to look at college tape again until next February." And everyone's like, "Ha ha ha ha! Good joke. Joke landed." But there's truth to the joke, right? He doesn't like watching college tape. He does it for 3 months of the year: February, March, April. Boom, great. And he's a smart guy. But real scouts, real GMs are really scouting these guys their entire time at college. They're not like he's looking at the guys that are on his draft radar that year. The Steelers, other teams are looking at guys since they're freshmen. They have, I mean, I'm just saying, obviously. So Kyle, he looks at tape and he'll see a guy who has a great year right before coming out and probably did well at the combine. That's all he needs to see. He drafts a lot of guys who had one good year in college and bloomed late because he's just looking at those 3 months of tape. He hasn't really been thinking about it for years. This year, he's not thinking about a wide receiver who could get drafted in 2 years. This year, he drafted Danny Gray, who was nobody 2 years ago. Two years ago, he was at junior college. Last year, he was a dude at SMU who had 33 catches. This year, he had a good year at SMU, like 800 yards, 9 touchdowns, killed it at the combine. Now he's on Kyle's radar, where he might not have been on other teams' radars until the very end, but Kyle doesn't care. So I just want to go through it. He's drafted 8 offensive skill players in the first 4 rounds. Joe Williams was the first one. He had one good year at Utah at the end. Dante Pettis. He had one good year at He had 1 year at Washington where he was a number 1 wide receiver, never had 1,000 yards. Debo, great player, broke out at South Carolina as a sophomore. Kyle coached him at the Senior Bowl. Maybe that's why this was different. Jalen Hurd literally played wide receiver for 1 year, got drafted. Brandon Ayuk, JUCO, 1 nondescript year at Arizona State, kills it his final year at Arizona State. Kyle loves him. Little bit of a mixed bag, could be the truth. Trey Sermon, 1 year as a running back, 1 at Ohio State, never had 1,000 yards in college. Ty Davis Price was nobody until this year. He had 400 yards in 2020. 1 good year at LSU. Kyle loves him. And Danny Gray. I feel like I sense a pattern here, man. He just doesn't really dig super deep into players past. I think he likes a lot of late bloomers.
Yeah, there's definitely a recency bias going there. I don't even think that's just restricted to offensive skill players too. Because when you said 1 year wonder, I mean, 1 year wonders would be the hit. Yeah. Javon Kinlaw too. His year, he had that one great year, and even then, people were still saying he was raw.
Drake Jackson's different. Drake Jackson broke out as a rookie, as a freshman. That's the kind of guy that you want to take. Someone who was good at a good school at a young age. He's probably got real talent. But someone like Danny Gray, are you sure, Kyle? Who the hell is Danny Gray? Who the hell is Ty Davis Price? He was nobody until this year. But none of these guys were on your radar until February anyway. You probably didn't even know who Ty Davis Price was until 3 months ago.
No, that's 1,000% for sure. And I don't think he's the only coach that kind of looks at it that way, because they're all a little bit too I just see the now. And a lot of them aren't too patient like a GM or a scouting director or an actual scout. So that's why a lot of them are could be too hard-headed to want to roll with the young talent, because they could see, all right, yeah, we could see how he did in college and he was fine, but that doesn't apply to the pros. That's kind of also why, people were attaching Kyle Shanahan's name to Mac Jones, because he was the most pro-ready. They could just roll in there immediately. That's why I really think they're just too embedded in. So yeah, I think 100% you're on the money there, where they're only looking at the last season. Yeah, shoot, I doubt even 2. I think we're looking at just the last season, because there's only so much amount of time you're really going to grind it on a certain amount of players. And remember, the ones that they drafted, especially they actually used all 9 of the picks. So just because they used all 9 of the picks on those players, who else were they looking at? That was probably another 5 to 8 for each pick they were making, especially in the early rounds. Right. And then you also got to wonder if they were considering trading up. Maybe they looked up for players who were also up there and they were hoping to fall or whatnot. Right. So yeah, I think it is a little bit of a look. I'm just going to look at your last season, see what you did. And maybe he doesn't think it's necessary, because, all right, I just got to focus on what you did last year. Yeah. Oh, I see. I like it. Now I know you should be able to bring this, and what can I build onto you to help put you on, continue on that trajectory going forward?
Yes. So he's hyper focused on a small snippet of the player's career. And compare it to, and on top of that, he develops crushes. He'll be like, I love this one. I got to have Trey Sermon. I'm trading up for him. I got to have Brandon Ayuk. I'm trading up for him. As opposed to the opposite is the Steelers. The Steelers never have losing seasons. They haven't won a Super Bowl in a while, but they're really good at drafting wide receivers in general. They draft one every year in round 2. For 6 years in a row, they've drafted a wide receiver, tight end in round 2. And what they always do, They don't trade up. They don't have crushes. They just let a really good guy fall to them in around pick 50, 55, 60. And it's usually someone who didn't necessarily test all that great at the combine, but has been on draft radars for a couple of years, had a great freshman year, a great sophomore year, broke out early, been around. Maybe people just got tired of him. And they just kind of fall. Like George Pickens this year. That's their guy. He was good at Georgia as a rookie, as a freshman. I keep calling them rookies. He's had some injuries. He's there at 55. Boom. They took Juju Smith-Schuster. He had a killer sophomore year at SC. It seems like they kind of just are patient and figure like someone good's going to drop. And it doesn't matter who it is. And we'll just do it every freaking year and hit 3/4 of the time. Kyle's like, no, I love this one guy. And I have to have him because he played because he had 331 yards against Northwestern. That's what Trey Sermon did. Like, what did Trey Sermon ever do in college that Kyle loved him so much? He never had 1,000 yards. Pettis, he traded up for Pettis. He never had 1,000 yards. What did he do? I don't know. Kyle saw one game he liked. He was like, oh, man, look at that one route. Look at that one route. That is that. If he can do that, it's like, dude, come on. Look at the big picture. Anyway, that's how I look at Kyle.
It kind of seems like he's almost trying to assemble like he can win this. He can run this one route, and he can do all the. He just finds certain players who are specialties in one focus, just so he can assemble them all. So that way, when he has his bag of tricks, like, hey, this guy can run the go out great. Hey, this guy can run the shallow right great. Hey, this guy can run.
It's like he saw Danny Gray run one end around in one screen and was like, boom, perfect. That's all I need. There you go. He's got it. That's what I'm gonna call. Anyway.
It's not like they really have hit on any skilled players either than Ayuk and
Debo,
Samuel so far.
And Ayuk, I mean, Ayuk could be. He could be too. But I wouldn't even put him there yet. Kittle big time. But that was like a guy who was traits in round 5. I was an upside pick, you know? These are like, I'm talking like higher picks where he traded up and stuff.
Yeah, like actually day 1, day 2, the one where you're supposed to really like, you know, be having a good batting average at.
Yeah, like how well did you really know Dante Pettis to trade up for him? Or did you just watch a few games? Like, how well did you really know Brandon Ayuk? Nothing against Brandon Ayuk, but like, I'm just saying. And now you got Danny Gray and Ty Davis Price totally fit the bill with that.